So today I'm gonna continue doing the stuff. Just clean the history. I figured out how to. I think I'm gonna spend 2 hours here. I figured out how to save the thing. Not save, but make it work. And I just hard coded the information on the PyVis, modified PyVis thing. So where is it? Somewhere here. So basically now I understand how it works. Whenever you have these 2 dots, you go one directory up. So because I want to go 3 levels from the place that this file is saved, the files are going to be saved. So there's 1, 2, then 3. 3 is going to get you the main folder of the Vis site. So these 3 dots are as if I'm traveling back until I reach this Vis site. Then I go to the templates and the files I want. And now it was working. Hopefully. Unless something weird happened like last time. And now I have to see. Yeah, I think the first thing that I'm gonna do is figure out how to add filters, because that's the most important one. The second thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a new page, a new template that is gonna contain the options as the first page of the site. And then from that page, I'm gonna figure out how to make the buttons activate the other portions, the other pages of the site. So you get the visualization. Yeah, I think what I have to do actually is create a menu or something like that in the main page already, where I can have options, and then I can go through make a place to type and make a place to select with the mouse for which visualization and the colors and stuff like that. And I have to figure out how to connect that to the building of the graphs, which is going to be really hard, because I think in my mind, at least right now, what it comes to mind is just creating buttons and displays, and then attaching those displays to event listeners that are connected to the template somehow. And I never did something like that, so it's going to be a little bit hard. So before I even do anything like that, I'm gonna close this. I want to see if how I can open with VS Code the file that I'm using to test this stuff. Live server is not good. Maybe open with, but then it's gonna open the. I think I'm gonna have to search this. Maybe there's an extension that makes this easier.
In this tutorial, I'm going to show you arguably the best way of writing HTML code in your VS Code editor. Keep in mind that this tutorial is for Chrome on Windows 10, but the instructions for Mac OS are identical. We're going to use the VS Code extension called Live Server. Live server allows you to do two things. It will run your HTML code as a web application running on your localhost web server directly from your computer. It also reloads your page automatically every time you save the file. So go ahead and open your VS Code editor and go to extensions. Now go ahead and type live server. Then all you have to do is just click on the install button. So go ahead and click on this settings wheel and select extension settings. You'll end up on the main VS Code settings page. Now go into the upper right corner and click on this button. This will open VS Code settings.json file. Now we're going to add the Chrome browser to our live server settings. Simply open the double quote and start typing.
It's really slow for some reason. This SAS should be working because I tested and it was working. So if it's not working right now, it's probably VS Code. Then I'm gonna open with PyCharm and see if it's working. I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab some tea. Yeah, so something is clearly strange here. Don't know what's going on. Pretty sure it's VS Code though. Put some music here. I was also wanna search if Flask opens standard HTML files or only templates. So I'm not sure exactly how these paths work, but it seems like when you return the path, it activates the file. I think it's this one. There we go. Finally. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know why it's taking so long. Oh, now it works. That's weird. Okay, we're good. It's working. So I think I'm gonna do it on PyCharm just because it was faster to load. The only problem is that PyCharm doesn't really support that well. I think it doesn't support actually JS files. That's the issue. Maybe it took a long time because I changed the file in PyCharm, something like that. Or whatever. So I think I'm gonna investigate that file. The important thing is that it's working, so that's what matters. So this is the file that contains all the functionality of the page. So obviously I'm not good with JavaScript, so I'm gonna have to search a bunch of things here. I think I think it's Control B to close that. So I'm gonna probably take notes here on things that I don't really think I understand. So here's a dictionary. The thing is a dictionary with a condition. Oh, it's a ternary operator. So if object equals type of exports and object equals types of module. So if the object is a module and is an exportable module, you apply module.exports equals t, which is the second argument here. And the else function equals type of define and define.amd. Oh, this is a nested ternary operator. So maybe it's else if the way that it works. So if it's a module and you can export it, you apply module.exports t, else you run this condition. If it's a function of define or define md, you apply define on, I don't know what define is. So first thing you have to look for define. Then if it's exports.vis, you apply t again as a function, else e.vis equals t. So I guess this is the first statement to handle anything that is going to happen in the page. Depending on which event it is, it runs these things. I also have to search what is this exclamation mark. Note that there's no semicolon, this is just a function declaration. You need an invocation foo to actually run the function. Now when we add the assembly knuckles exclamation mark, turns it into an expression. It is now a function expression. Oh, so interesting. So if you want to run the function without having to call it, you just put the exclamation mark. That's very useful to know, and I haven't seen this in any course or anywhere. The exclamation alone doesn't invoke the function, of course, but we can now put parentheses at the end. Also, only if you put parentheses, which has higher precedence than exclamation and instantly calls the function. So what the author is doing is saving a byte per function expression. More readable way of writing it would be this. Lastly, exclamation makes the expression return true. This is because by default all immediately invoked function expressions return undefined, which leaves us with undefined, which is true, not particularly useful. Hmm. So, okay, I guess I understand enough. Just keep going. So I need to remember what I actually want from this page. And what I want is to create a function that I want to figure out how to put in my control the movement of the canvas whenever I want, and to have access to the nodes and change their properties. That's what I want. So I need to know how to get the nodes and the nodes properties. I think that's the main one. And the second one is how to move the canvas and the zoom, so the view of the page. Turn function E. So I guess this is calling, or maybe not. Yeah, I think this is the function declaration, and then is immediately called with this. That's why it has the exclamation point here, like it said there. So this is in parentheses because this is the function that is going to be running. This is equal to E, and function is equal to T. That's what I'm thinking about right now. But here's passing return function E. This guy's kind of confusing. Also, I'm gonna search what this use strict is. Strict. Is not a statement but literal expression ignored by earlier versions of JavaScript. The purpose of use strict is to indicate that the code should be executed in strict mode. With strict mode, you cannot, for example, use undeclared variables. All modern browsers support use strict except Internet Explorer 9 and lower. Use undeclared variables. The numbers in the table specify the first browser version that fully supports the directive. You can use strict mode in our programs, helps you to write cleaner code, like preventing you from using undeclared variables. The syntax for declaring strict mode was designed to be compatible with older versions of JavaScript. Finally, numeric literal. I think what I'm gonna do is divide the stuff. And when it comes to getting the nodes, I'm just gonna see how to get them, the properties, and try to figure out a way to run a Python script that changes them based on the events on the page, and but only when I activate those properties on the interaction part, because I don't want them to be on all the time, because I also want to maintain the initial functionality of the page. So when it comes to the nodes, I'm going to try to integrate with Python, and when it comes to the view, I think I have to do that with JavaScript, because JavaScript is what is controlling the canvas. So maybe there's a way to do both simultaneously also. The integration part is the most difficult one to think about. It's not talked that often. Strict mode makes it easier to write secure JavaScript. Strict mode changes previously accepted bad syntax into real errors. Also, it's pretty much something just to make the thing more rigid, let's say. So I'm not sure if this is exactly how I was thinking about. Let's see at the end here if it's... Yeah, so it stops here. So I imagine it's exactly what I was talking about, where this is the declaration and this is the function that is being run through this. And this function returns... Oh, so it's probably a recursive call, which makes sense because the page is you're always uploading the page. So I think I've seen some on the videos about on the tomato guy about C++, chili something. He talks about when he was developing the program on the beginners list playlist. He talks about leaving stuff on a while loop because the thing is going to be constantly running. So I imagine this is a concept for whenever you have something that is constantly needs to be updated, which is the only thing that makes sense actually, because if you don't update, then you can't change the state. Yeah, the playlist from this guy talks about that. So this is going to return the function with the e as argument, depending on which type of the object it is. Object or function. Maybe I should search what's defined in define MD now. Yeah, define. A required JS module definition. Click here for more details. Required JS is a JavaScript file and module loader. It is optimized for in-browser use, but it can be used in other JavaScript environments, like Rhino and Node. Using a modular script loader like required JS will improve the speed and quality of your code. Module is different from a traditional script file in that it defines a well-scoped object that avoids polluting the global namespace. You can explicitly list its dependencies and get a handle on those dependencies without needing to refer to global objects, but instead receive the dependencies as arguments to the function that defines the module. So I think I understand, but it's a little bit confusing. The last part. Instead, receive the dependencies as arguments to the function that defines the module. So what is a function that defines a module? Modules in Require.js are an extension of the module pattern, with the benefit of not needing global to refer to other modules. The Require.js syntax for modules allows them to be loaded as fast as possible, even out of order, but evaluated in the correct dependency order. And since global variables are not created, it makes it possible to load multiple versions of a module in a page. If you are familiar with or are using CommonJS modules, then please also see CommonJS notes for information on how the Require.js module format maps to CommonJS modules. There should only be one module definition per file on disk. The module can be grouped into optimized bundles by the optimization tool. If the module does not have any dependencies and is just a collection of name value pairs, then just pass an object literal to define. So it's pretty much something to optimize the code, which allows you to not have global variables, because global variables are stored differently in memory than local variables, which makes the program slow down. I just don't understand this module thing. What defines a function module? You see the dependencies as arguments to the function that defines the module. Also, but how do modules are libraries, but how do you define the function that defines that module? Maybe it's through extension? I don't know. I think I'm gonna study this later. It is important, but it's not that relevant to what I'm trying to do. Or maybe define MD, no? In module exports. Hmm. Hey, it is all. What's up, man? Yeah, so this is exactly the thing that I'm looking for, which is the condition that it is there with ternary operators. First thing to understand is that a library can be developed to be deployed in different environments, in an MD loader within a JavaScript machine, in Node.js, or in a browser. I don't understand what is an MD loader, so I'm probably gonna look that after. NPM. I guess it's just different ways of rendering JavaScript. Teach me math because my teacher bad teacher. Yeah, man. Nowadays, at least for me, that's how I think you should learn everything on the internet. Just search for YouTube videos and articles and watch a bunch of different ones, so get a sense of what is common between them and what is different, and then make up your mind from that. I don't think the standard school module is the way that it works is updated to the place we live today. It's really outdated. You don't need school, you know. Just teach yourself. And let your curiosity lead you to what you want to study, instead of having people tell you what to do. At least that's what I think. The first thing to understand is that a library can be developed to deploy in the different environments in an MD loader, in JavaScript machine, think Node.js, or in a browser. So this code is basically a way to export a JavaScript library through a precedence schema. In my code, if define is defined and we are on an AMD environment, then I will export my library both with define, as in define my lib, and we'll add it to this. That's usually what you would do to export a module in AMD. Inquire.js has a good tutorial on AMD, take a look at. Then if there is a module and if there is module then if there is module is and module.exports exists, then I will add my library to module.exports. This is usually what is needed if you're deploying your library in a Node.js module. You can find an introductory tutorial to module.export here. Otherwise, I would just add my library to this, which is usually the case when you're just adding a JS library via script, source equals tagging a web page. In this case, one could have used windows.mylib because mylib, but I prefer to use this.mylib. Maybe that could be a reason why it's slower when I do it the way that I'm doing now, and it's faster when I'm using the link. Maybe this initial code is optimizing the browser for the link usage instead of doing the way that I'm doing, but I'm not really sure. Because I think this is telling me that there's a difference between using the Node.js and other types of JavaScript. And the difference is in the loader, which is the loader is probably the bridge between the browser and the script itself. And depending on which technology you're using, you're activating different ways, different pathways to the browser. I imagine that's what's going on. Mine crypto, and now it's going back to original price. Price crashed. Yeah, it's very volatile, right? It's dangerous. That's why you have to study a lot if you're gonna. And I don't know, mining crypto I think is good, but it's probably not. It's definitely high risk in my opinion because it's only gonna go down in price unless you find small coins that you can mine, and the coins are gonna go up. But then you have to understand the market, and it's very difficult to know which ones are gonna go up and which ones are not gonna go up. I think what is gonna happen now is that it's just gonna stabilize. We're going to a bear market, and it's gonna stabilize for now, but it's not gonna go to the way bottom like it did on the previous cycle because the situation is different. There's a lot more institution and everything like that. Dual coin mine, double profit. How do you do that? Interesting. Do you do it with a normal PC? Because I also think I never really studied that, but I think you need money to buy 2 coins mining with 1 GPU. And my headphone. Interesting, man. You also have to pay for maintenance, right? Because it spends more the. Maybe I'm talking. Uh, I don't really know very well, but I imagine it's like a car where you're using more the CPU, so have to repair more often the components. But if you're doing it, then it's good because it's passive, right? Don't do anything, you're just mining there. How do you do that? Mine Ethereum but receive Bitcoin? Do you understand proof of stake versus proof of work? I only understand and don't really understand really well, but proof of work, which is the hash functions there. And proof of stake, if I'm not mistaken, is you get rewarded for leaving money on the coin. So I'm not really sure how mining works on proof of stake. And if I remember correctly, the transition from Ethereum to Ethereum 2.0 was this difference in mining or something like that. So I'm not really sure how it works now. Yeah, proof of stake and mine, I imagine, because it doesn't make much sense. we're just gonna leave the money there. Two new coins out of Ethereum. Yeah, because essentially you can do everything, right? It's just smart contracts, so you can build anything from Ethereum, I imagine. Are the fees still high on Ethereum? Because I think if Ethereum continues with the high fees, it's probably gonna go down in the future. I can see people using something that you have to pay $100 for a transaction. Doesn't make any sense. And that's why people are talking about Cardano and ADA for a long time, but it seems like it's also stalling now because it's at the very top. Never heard of this. Maybe the last one, Alf, if it's the one that I'm talking about, but that I'm thinking about. What do you mean by use 2 euros? For what? To mine? Don't understand really well what you're saying. It's because I don't understand mining really well, though. From what I think right now, you just use the GPU to make the calculations of hash. Oh, transaction you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, so now it's way better. Yeah, 2 is way better than 100, obviously. Yeah, very small. Yeah, crypto is very interesting. Very, very interesting. Why? I think it fluctuates with blocks depending on how crowded the network is, right? If there's a lot more people, then starts going up the fee, from what I understand. Asynchronous module definition. That's what AMD is. RX 560 started mining with it. Did you invest just for that? Did you buy a computer just for mining, or you had one already and sold it for 100 and bought for 300? Then later my mom swatted me, got me. God damn, man, you really. If I remember, you said you were 13 or something like that. You're gonna be a billionaire with this mindset, man. When you're 20 something. Super takes small electric and mines fast. That one very good motherboard. That's crazy, man. How much did you spend for everything? So if I understand, you have one computer for mining and one for personal use. No. Hmm. Let me see if I know which one you're talking about. So you're talking about this graphic card. Hmm. Now, how do you decide the coins you're mining? Did you investigate all of them? Not all of them, but at least the top ones, top 100. That's really interesting, man. Maybe I'll look into this in the future. Because it's completely passive, right? You just leave the PC there. And yes, you have to take care of it, but and make sure it's not overheating and stuff like that. Does it make a lot of noise? Because from videos I saw of different people, they say that sometimes it can make a lot of noise if you have a lot of them running. Yeah, it's gonna be around a couple $100, I think. No, this is incorrect. Oh no, yeah. I was thinking that it's 5,000, but it's actually 5, I think. Is it though? Not sure. 0.002. I'm not really sure what the standard is for these things. How much do you expect to gain? 0.02 of if a day. Yeah, it's like it's gonna be if one day is 5, it's gonna be 150, right? If euro. It's the other way around you're talking about. Like this? Yeah, that's good. That's really good. We're doing absolutely nothing. Really, really good. I think it's correct here, the number. Yeah. But you should look into finding other coins because then there's the exponential effect of if the coin also how can I say this in English? If the coin becomes more valuable, then you win exponentially more, right? It's 150, 30 times 5, or 160. Don't need to do that on the calculator. It's really good, really good. In my currency, it's worth 6 times more because €1 is I think 6 of mine. So it would be that times 6, which would be around 900 of my currency. Yeah, €1 equals 6.10. Yeah, so in 2 months you recover what you spent, and then from there you just passive income. I might take a look on this later. Actually, it seems like a good idea. But obviously, if you buy the whole PC, then you need a lot more, right? You're gonna spend probably $1,000 for a PC just to mine crypto. Do you think it's better? I imagine it's better to have a strong GPU than CPU, but I'm not really sure. Because at least for for machine learning is GPU, but I don't know if blockchain is the same logic because the calculations are done in matrix form. I don't really know which one is more important. Mm. What do you recommend for a entire computer? If you're gonna make the whole build, to have a new computer just for mining. Because eventually I might save money for that and just see what happens. But I don't think I would mine Ethereum though. Even though most people that I've seen, they recommend Ethereum because it's the most stable one. But I think I would look for smaller coins that have more potential. That can have compound benefits to them. H HL, is this a name for a computer? HL Pro? I'm just gonna search what you typed there. Oh yeah, there's electricity costs, right? I forgot about that. Really? How much? P5Q Deluxe. 30? What the fuck? 30 euros only? Yeah, but the thing is, for me, it's gonna be a lot expensive, a lot more expensive, because of the import taxes. I have to look this to see if this exists in Brazil. But usually everything outside is half the cost. In Brazil, it's double the cost than it is outside because of the import taxes, which is crazy, absolutely insane. But it is what it is. I don't think this page has. Yeah, but this is just one component. I want to know what's the entire build you would use for this. Maybe post on Discord so I can look at it with more patience. Yeah, that's already more expensive, but it's not that crazy. Yeah, but just for one component, then it is expensive actually. Because if you're gonna build the entire thing, it's gonna cost a lot more. But maybe you can have just this as the strong one, right? To mine, and the rest really cheap. So the overall thing doesn't get ridiculously expensive. Then you have to calculate if the how much harder it's gonna be to mine 5 years from now, and what's the risk in the crypto space. Which I don't. I think that crypto is gonna go up only from here into the future, especially as technology evolves, because everything is gonna be integrated in the Internet of Things. Because every device is gonna be connected to each other, and they're gonna communicate with Wi-Fi and use data to synchronize themselves to have a more anti-fragile system. So we have to decentralize power somehow. But the problem with crypto is that this decentralization is in function of the computation, which can be manipulated as well, which is a lot harder to do, but it is possible that it can be done to narratives and stories, market manipulation overall. So the biggest challenge for me in the reason why I want to understand the crypto a lot better is because I don't think that it is solving the problem of the market economy, the standard market economy, because it's not changing the paradigm fundamentally of how things are being incentivized to be developed. It's just changing the means of that should be happening, but it's not changing the overall paradigm, which is demand and I forgot the other word. Supply and demand, which incentivizes the limbic system and makes us desynchronize with the overall holistic structure of what our harmonic development within technology would be, because it gets out of sync, is not is desynchronized with the environment, which makes us have more adaptation capacity than other species, but also makes us kill ourselves because it's uncontrollable. And that's why corruption exists. Just the limbic system hijacking the prefrontal cortex, both in the individual and the collective level. I would think about it, and I'm not sure if I have the money or not, but maybe I'm gonna study this, and I'm also gonna study the coins more, and then. But I think it's a good investment to do if it is affordable, less than $1,000, let's say. Then once I have the money, then I'll think about it. I don't think I'm gonna save this stuff on the browser. Hopefully you put there on the Discord, then I can check it out later. It's first I need to get the money to do that. I think I'm gonna get more tea and continue this stuff. I think I understand now what is AMD. Just asynchronous mode, whatever that is, and it's probably something from JS. Yeah, asynchronous module definition. So it's just a way to optimize the execution of the functions. That's why this statement exists here, both for the objects on the export and modules, and for the functions by using this define and define.amd. So that is optimized for the Node.js infrastructure, which I think is what the project uses. But I'm not sure if this is useful when you're not using the links, because I don't see why it wouldn't be, but yeah, I'm not really sure about that. AMD, yeah, but not in this context, I think. this is not what's. I know that AMD is computer stuff, but I think this is referring to this stuff here. Asynchronous module definition. It's just a way to optimize the code so that kind of like JavaScript knows that you're using Node.js, so it loads this stuff faster on the browser. I'll be right back. So let me continue this stuff. So function T, so this function is gonna return. So after it executes these optimization statements, it's gonna run the function with this as E, which refers to the instance of whatever is running, and the function T is gonna be this one, which is gonna return this function E with the argument E, which is gonna have this function inside of it. I imagine it's gonna have a bunch of functions, yeah. One for each thing that is the page is doing. It's kind of difficult to understand because they used single letters to define things instead of putting the name of what each thing should be, but maybe they did this for optimization, I'm not sure. I also think this page is rendered through the whole library there, but when you're using the link, everything is compacted into one file, which is nice. So if I don't understand what the I is. Oh, it's defined outside. It's kind of weird way to do it. So I have this function, I have these arguments, and then it runs the function here. Oh, so I is defined inside of the scope of this one. Damn, this is really confusing. So this function is, I think what's happening is the same thing that is happened here, where this function is gonna be run through this thing, and then this is the scope. Oh no, this function runs this function, and then the return statement from this is this one. No, the return statement from this one outside is this. So returns t dot m equals e. So I is an empty object. It's gonna activate t through here. I think it's gonna take this I here. So if empty object, it's really confusing Because what does it mean by the dot there? D dot M. Maybe I should see if I can debug this. Just see what's and step over the things. Let me see. Even for Brazil, you ship through Brazil. And is it used? Oh, that's all the things inside of the one, if I understand. Oh, really? Interesting. Very interesting. 400. Oh, but here it says 600. If if that's the one they were talking about. And that's all that you need to mine Ethereum. $30. Holy shit. But how used? I'll have to think about it. And I'm definitely gonna think about it. I'm gonna search more. Maybe maybe I will research the coins on stream at some point and see which ones are mineable and which ones are not. And maybe we can research that. I was thinking about building stuff for crypto when it comes to programming, like data analysis stuff. So that could be interesting as well. To find the best coins to mine. Create a script or scripts that find the best ones to mine. Just based on the tokenomics of the coins. But I'm not really sure if it's worth it because it would be difficult. That's why I ended up not doing it. Because it's a lot of time and there's a lot of other stuff that I want to do. Manju Pyong motherboard but has price PCI but they don't work. Oh, really? That's good to know. Thank you. HP motherboards is not good. I don't understand really well the difference between the. I roughly understand. I know that the main big ones are Intel and AMD for CPU, and then there's some differences that I don't really understand. And then there's people that talk about overclocking the things as well, which I do understand roughly now from a theoretical standpoint about the clock of the machine, but I don't understand in the practice how do they do it and what are the dangers of that. But I think that would help in mining as well, I imagine. And this is the entire build I would need, you're saying. For 773. With the 30, so 800 basically, 800 bucks. That's definitely interesting. Interesting. I'm probably not gonna buy it now. I'm gonna have to. It might take me some time, like 1 or 2 months, to really decide if I'm gonna do this or not, or maybe even more time. Who knows? But it's definitely a very interesting idea. Do you have a spreadsheet, or you keep the costs that you spend, like electricity and estimations of how long it will take for you to maybe, I don't know, other additional costs I'm not thinking about, like overheating stuff or breaking stuff, how likely it is, how much the mining as well. You can run data analysis through that. I remember I saw a video that a guy talked about software that allows you to see the performance of these things and with a bunch of data and stuff like that, but I didn't dig into it very much. Yeah, that's really cheap. I'm impressed, man. Not gonna lie, impressed with you. You seem to be very proactive, especially if you're really telling the truth, and you're really 13 years old. That's absolutely insane. It's with processors, I think. Mm. I don't understand what is written here, neither how to search for this. It's an empty object that has a list with the argument here. And this is returning with t.m, which I'm not sure if it's passing m to and making it equal to e. So if it is that, then returns that, then exports that. Then if it isn't, it makes n equals this stuff here, which is equals to an object containing exports, ID loaded. Then returns z, but it didn't. Oh, e is the argument. So return z o dot call and dot exparse. What is n here? Oh, it's the object. Oh, so it's returning the exports of the object the object itself, and then n exports and t. Which is the function, I imagine. So it's a recursive call here. N dot loaded is equal to different than 0. So 0 is false. So if it's true, so here is false. I'm not sure why they do it like this. Why not just write true or false? Maybe it should make it more difficult to read. I don't know. But if this is false, no, if this is true, yeah, if this is true, I think, then n dot exports. So I think this, what the purpose of this is to break the recursive call. I think. User, maybe F12. Oh, this comes from another file, from the TS, the declaration stuff from TypeScript. Causal method of an object substituting another object for the current object. These arg, the object should be used as the current object. Arg array, a list of arguments should be passed to the method. To this function, arg any, oh, so it's calling the function with the argument with an array, with the arguments array. So this is what this is doing here. And then, yeah, I'm not sure. Because here it doesn't have a comma. You just have these two dots here. Yeah, but I think it's calling this, it's exporting this object here with the n as argument, with the object itself as argument, and as a list as well of arguments array. It's kind of confusing. Not really sure if I'm understanding this correctly, but I'm gonna assume that it is what I'm thinking it is. It's just this part that I still don't understand. How do you call a function with a dot? Maybe if I use F12, it doesn't work. If I do it with this. Yeah, so this is referencing this, which is what I imagine. Oh, let me press that again because I think I saw something there. Oh, it's just going here now. I do it. F12 is just going there. So maybe I'll look for calling functions with dot JavaScript. I imagine it's passing m as an argument there. Yeah, that's probably not what I'm searching. So let me go back here. And the difficult thing is, how can I search for this? Because it's a difficult thing to think about. To search in a way that I'm gonna get any relevant results. What do you mean? Tapeworm. And here's the same thing, t.c, t.p equals I. So I imagine the only thing that makes sense to me is that it's calling this function and passing these arguments. Because I don't see C here, neither M inside, so I can't be accessing something inside the function. But then here, why would be calling with the parentheses then? Maybe it's because it's a number, so. Because the T is the function, according to VS Code, is this function here. ETI. So, okay, so now I think I understand what this is. It returns this recursively, returns this, which is gonna call this recursively, passing this call, which is this object here, with this object and the whole thing as an argument. And this is a argument list as well. Just pretty much keeping track of the loaded with the ID. Maybe this is for the nodes. And is using this object to do that and the recursive call of the function. Then outside of the scope is declaring I, so this is the return statement for this function outside, which calls this one recursively. So when this stops running, it goes through this, which makes the function call of this C equals I, which I don't understand really well. And then empty string. Oh, these have commas here. Huh. Didn't realize that. Oh, so it's returning all of this at the same time. Ah, now it makes more sense. I believe it's Parasite. Maybe from what I understand. Yeah, it's very common here in Brazil, believe it or not. At least that's what people say. I'm not really sure if it's common or not, but that's what I heard. Uh, Easy getting crypto from it? What do you mean? I believe there are there is medicine for that. You can take some pills or something like that. Oh, Brave. We're talking about Brave. Yeah, I like Brave as well. It's in the blockchain, right? There's some also you can do some things with the Brave coin. Some, especially for creating content, that you can get paid through the Brave thing. But I don't understand really well how it works. But if you do have tapeworm, you should get treatment, of course, as fast as possible. I don't think it's that severe, let's say. but it can get dangerous if you let it, because I think there's a variation of that can go to your brain or stuff like that, and sometimes in some cases can be bad. But usually, I believe it's not that bad. You just take the medicine, the pill, whatever they have for that, and then it flushes out of your system. Yeah, I understand. But look it up. You can get there's variations where the thing, because it lays eggs, right? It reproduces inside of yourself, and then those eggs can cause problems. But I think it's only if you digest the eggs again or something like that. Don't remember. But go get treatment, man, as fast as you can. And why do you think that? Why do you think you have it? Just shitting worms? It's very common though in a lot of places. So comes, I believe, it comes from pigs. Oh, maybe that's just your metabolism. Yeah, if you have a fast metabolism, that's pretty normal. But you should get checked anyway. Of course, it's better to prevent than to cure it. Oh, you checked and you didn't have. Oh, so that's fine. Oh, okay, good. Here is doing the same thing as before, or is activating through this. Yeah, this is this T now. Yeah, but here's the function, here's the argument. So this function here is gonna be ran with this other function, if I understand this. Just passing I with these numbers here. 1, 7, 8, 10, 9, 11. So it's making each thing with you, done with you, dataset, data view. I imagine I is gonna be, it's either a function or a list or array, something like that. I don't know if you can do this with arrays where you specify. Maybe not. So maybe it's a function. But I don't see anything here to indicate that it's a function. Dataset, data view, queue, network. Dot parser images. Oh, maybe this is the dot part. So it's not actually the one that I'm using, but yeah, this is for the dot graph. When you have that option now. So it's accessing the properties of the network through this D argument here. No definition. I was making it equal here. So it's making the D argument have all these properties equals to the I with the numbers. So I think it's indexing the properties of the network with these two arguments. And the third argument is being used for these functions here. Moment, hammer, key char. And there's a comma here, so I think both of these functions are part of the parent function here. Then it's making this check like it did in before. Eternity and function type of symbol, either constructor symbol. Also, this is an ternary operator between these two functions. I've never seen this before, actually. The way that is written here. It seems more confusing. What electronics shops exist in Brazil? There's a bunch of them, but I think Americanas is one. Then you have Amazon that ships to Brazil as well. What else? Uh, that's what the only one that comes to mind first, because it's the one that I used in the past. Oh, Submarino. This one as well. Not sure why it's not displaying here. Typing the wrong one. Oh no, it's this one. And then, but usually I don't know really well because, well, mostly I use Amazon, the Brazilian one with .br in the end. These ones that I showed, and there are a couple of other ones, but for the other things I use local stores here that are not necessarily known. Use a VPN. But you don't have to find this stuff for me, man. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna have to think about it for a long time before I make any decision like that. Yeah, there's an extension of Amazon for Brazil, and I believe for UK as well, and for other countries, where you type with the different extension, you get you the different version of Amazon, because they have logistics all over the world, I believe, and probably if not 50% or something like that comes from China. You can do something called Amazon FBA, which a lot of people talk about, and now it's really more well known. But pretty much what people do is take items from China and then flip them in Amazon, and then you make a business over that. And I think most of Amazon is pretty much works like that. That's why China is getting so powerful now. They pretty much created all this infrastructure for delivering all this stuff through Amazon and through other companies, through drop shipping and through this Amazon FBA. They don't send directly, but they do send it to you through these sites, because people use the sites to get the manufacturer product from them, and then they send it to you through the. So every time you buy from Amazon, for example, it's very likely that it's coming from China actually, and then it's being sent to you through these vendors. Yeah, that's what they do. They send to Amazon warehouses from China, and then China sends to you, and then Amazon sends to you through these warehouses, and then you have to pay some costs there if you want to use this stuff. I think now it's probably possible to make money from that, but it's very saturated, and I think most of Amazon works that way. It depends on the vendor, of course, and the people selling, but send to us or US, that's all. You can look it up later if you want. It's called Amazon FBA. And also there's drop shipping with Alibaba that a bunch of people do as well. Just pretty much marketing a product and then get shipping directly from China or whatever manufacturer you have to the person that's buying, and then you handle the relationship with the client and the marketing upfront. So if something goes wrong with the product, then you're pretty much responsible for it, even though it could be from the manufacturer. So that's the challenge there. And then obviously you make money on the spread of the difference between what you pay for the manufacturer and what the person is paying in the front end. So this function is also in the same, is gonna run in the same block as this one. Just gonna run these true conditions through this ternary operator. So where is the end of this one? Yeah, so this is a very big function, seems like. So imagine that this function is the one that handles most of the functionality of the page, probably. Yeah, probably not, but at least handles a section. So 771. It's gonna be a challenge because this page has 40,000 lines, so it's gonna be a little bit hard to figure out exactly what's going on. Maybe 20,000 or something like that. It's a lot of lines anyway. I never heard of that. Known guy rap. I can try it out, of course. Is that the name of the person or the rapper? Right now, I'm enjoying listening to Harry Mack, which is a guy. He also streams on Twitch. I don't understand what you mean. Rap like your friend, known guy. Oh, oh, he's your friend. He's our acquaintance, or you know him, and he's a rapper. What's his name? What language do you speak? Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna like it because taste is different for everyone, but try it out. What language is this? Oh, interesting. Have you listened to Harry Mack? You should, if you understand English well. He's really good. Yeah, when you have time, look him up. It's really good. He freestyles off the top of his head, and the things that he come up with is like actual songs. It's insane. I think it's probably the best freestyle ever that at least for me from the stuff that I've heard. Lithuanian is very close to Russian, right? It's interesting language. I met one person from there, which was very cool. Actually, I met a guy as well from there. Really cool guy as well. I don't understand what this means here. This number. Maybe this is not doing what I think it's doing. And now he's using the eyes here to access this parts here, maybe. Yeah, I choose this. And 6. There's no 6. Hmm. Interesting. Oh, this is a different eye. It's so weird the way that they did this. It's really strange. Not sure if this is the standard way to do things like this, because it's the first real project that I see from JavaScript. So I'm not sure what the name of this guy is. I enjoyed the music, even though I don't understand anything that he's saying, but it's probably the other name. and I found the channel, but it's probably not him. Just some random stuff. I think I'll go back to the electronic thing. The thing is, if I look for his number, it's gonna give me. It's probably gonna say that is something to find it's a number, whether or not it's a number. Oh, so maybe this is what's happening here. But it doesn't make much sense because I haven't seen. Oh, so maybe the dot is actually creating the properties. It works like a constructor. That's what's happening here. Yeah, that would make more sense. It's just more confusing because the function doesn't have a name and the arguments are just letters. Yeah, I think that's what's going on here. And it's not using the this, he's using the letters instead. If his number goes there, recursive don't delete. If E for E has shell nodes different than zero, different than equals to true, because zero is false and this negates the false. So T dot recursive element E dot first child. So maybe if I search for these hash child nodes, I'm gonna understand better what this Z is. I obviously can look at the definition because it's just gonna give me the argument. And just see what it is actually in practice, then I think only if I debug or try something like that. But I'm not even sure if that's possible. I'll probably have to do it through the browser instead. Yeah, maybe I should be doing that. Because I don't have a lot of experience of analyzing JavaScript code through the browser. But I think that's how you debug JavaScript. Just use the inspect on the dev tools. And you put breaking points and do the normal thing you do on the IDE. So maybe I should be doing that as well. I can place console logs here and then see what it returns. So that's an idea. I think I'm gonna do that after I read a couple more lines of this until I get really familiar, at least with the structure. Then I'm probably gonna do that. So the E is probably a div. It's probably the canvas. node has any child node, so the right is false. So it's gonna be a div or a DOM element. I'll go back. I think I'm gonna get more tea. Be right back. Let me see the time first. 8 minutes. Be right back. So I was here, recursive DOM, delete. So this is part of the same thing. Oh no, this is part of the bigger one. So give range function etio equals z return dot 5 var n1 n equals 1 divided by t minus z. So what exactly is t? Maybe the letters are initials, right? So E is probably element, I is probably instance or something like that. Well, T means mean timestamp doesn't make much sense. I don't know. Maybe it does. Return math.max 0 omen z times n. So it's gonna get the maximum of whatever this expression is. Then is this thing. So maybe I should put this function and see if anything shows up. It's pretty much O minus E divided by T minus E. O minus Z divided by T minus Z. Maybe it's the position of the elements. Yeah, the range. Maybe I should search for give range. Oh, maybe it's declared on the TypeScript stuff. No definition. Oh, maybe it's creating the properties here. Of, yeah, that's probably, if it doesn't have any definition, that's what makes the most sense, because making this equal to, so it's the same logic as the constructor stuff there. Whereas making each one of these a property, and it's going to be equal to a function. So I think I'm getting understanding more a lot better now. That's what's happening. So all these functions are probably going to be recursive functions that trigger events in the page. And the properties of these functions are going to be the functions that are activated depending on each event. So it's not using event listeners, I think. Or maybe it's going to use that event listeners further down. But I think that's how the structure is working here. Is instance of string. The is the now it's calling this function r.execute. Probably doesn't have, but it has definition. Returns a boolean value that indicates whether or not a pattern exists in a searched string on which to perform the search. Executes a search on the string using a regular expression pattern and returns an array containing the results of that search, string object or string literal, or on which to perform the search. So it's a function to see if this so has to be a string. No. Yeah, this here. But this is different than the other one. Or maybe not. Maybe it's the same. Also, this is this. Yeah, but each one is going to be different because each argument that is passed is going to become a different thing. Ethereum plus Alp H. Lefium is the coin you're talking about. Lefium. Why didn't you buy more than one computer? Because that would be the first thing that comes to my mind. Obviously, there's higher risk, right? But you can use the profits of one to buy another one, and then you just keep going. But then obviously it's a lot more risk, and you have to manage a lot more as well. So yeah, maybe it's not worth it to have a bunch of them. Six GPUs. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Mm. There's CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. I'm not sure which one is best, but how do you know? Do you know where you can find if a coin is mineable or not? Obviously, it's gonna be on the tokenomics, I believe, but it, in the white paper, if it has a white paper, but an easier way to look at that. Because what we can do is build a web scraper that finds the coins that are mineable and creates a list of them. And then we can see run some data analysis and see which ones are the best. Oh, nice. Yeah, you know everything apparently. Nice. Well, because it's passive income, right? It is really interesting. You can make money doing nothing. Obviously, you have the risk, but and I think that the most powerful thing about mining is that crypto is very undervalued is still because people don't understand that everything is going to be run by smart contracts in the future as technology evolves, and it's already is very a very big part of everything, and people don't realize that. So exactly, like imagine if you have 10 mining computers running for you, you put them on a room with ventilation and everything. It's kind of like having your own server. And then not only that, you can use that to also build your own stuff, like websites and everything like that. So everything compounds on itself. That's why it's so interesting. And if you leave some of the coins and they become more valuable, then you can sell. You can also trade on top of that, swing trade on top of that, which becomes if you know what you're doing, right? Which is very difficult to know, but if you do know, it becomes very profitable. Where on the site, ROI calculator or mining calculator, top or calculator. Damn, this is really really cool. I don't understand exactly how it works, but Ethereum Ash. Oh, uh, so which ones are you talking about? Here. Oh, 1.9 GHS in Blake tree. What is this hash rate? Hash rate. It's probably related to the cryptography thing, of course. 1.9 GHS. Here. 1.9 here. So you're making around $3 a day. This and this. Damn, this is a lot more actually. This one is insane. I'm not sure if it's correct. Because I believe it's possible, but only with a very powerful computer. Yeah, 5.8 plus 3. It's gonna be almost $10 a day for doing nothing. Here? Thank you for showing me that. It's really interesting. I think this one I'm gonna put it on favorites, just so I don't forget. How do I add them? On the calculator? This number here and the other one? Yeah, it's gonna be close to $9, something like that. Times 30. $222. Thank you. Why 32? You have to assume it's 30 a month. Even, well, even if the average is 32, yeah. But I'd rather go lower, right? Should be more conservative. But if you take into account the cost, if you make 222 a month and you invest, let's say 1,000, I know you shared this stuff with me for less for 800, then but let's say 1,000 should be conservative. Then it takes around between 4 to 5 months. Yeah, 4.5 months to recover the initial investment. Yeah, I think it is a good investment actually. Yeah, because it's just stack computers, right? You buy like 10 of this if you have money. But the risk that is not explicit here is both the risk of the coin devaluating a lot, the risk of mining becomes a lot more cost. It will become harder to mine with time because that's the mathematics of the coins. So those are the two risks. The third risk is getting hacked. The fourth risk is losing the computers or something breaking because you're spending too much computer power, which is I think doesn't happen. Maybe overheating is more the proper way to say that. So you do have those risks, but I think it is a smart thing to do. Yeah, I'll think about it, man. You're uh, opening my mind up. How long have you been doing this for? But did you pay something extra for that? For the protection and the balcony stuff? Yeah, of course. I want to make money, obviously. I've looked into this stuff before in the past, but I stopped to do other things. Mm. Because that's the biggest issue with me. There's so much stuff in my mind all the time that I'm thinking about that it's hard to keep focus on just one thing. And obviously, to do that, I need money. So I need to make the money first to buy the computer to this. So it's not that easy. But these sites that you shared and the stuff that you shared is very interesting because I wasn't proactive enough to look for cheaper ways like you do. It's really impressive, man. Your mindset. You shouldn't be in school, man. You shouldn't be making your own business, man. You're wasting your time in school. Just drop that shit, make your own business. Maybe don't drop it, but make your thing on the side. Yeah, you're gonna be very successful with this mindset. That's crazy, man. 50 a day for 3 hours. It's not about the money, you know. It's more about the mindset. The mindset's the most important thing, and you have that. That's what makes it the difference. Because money is just paper; it doesn't mean anything. You lose the money, but you don't lose the mindset if you work hard to achieve it. That's really impressive, man. Really. I think here you can put any crystal name you want. Not sure. I think this is just a simple calculator based on electricity costs and the volatility of the stuff. Why did you lose it? PCI risers. I bought a PCI 4 and then it broke my computer because at least that's what the guy told me, but I'm not really sure. But I think the connection sometimes if these things are they're having problems, so it's not as SATA is slower, but it's more a more secure connection. If by PCI risers, bought from some guy and they kill it. PCI riser 16x. How do you research this stuff? Do you just uh, type on Google or DuckDuckGo what's the best setup for mining. Oh, it's really cheap, this stuff. And did you build your own thing? If you buy all these components separately? Because I never built it on my own. So I'm not sure if I would be. I probably have to hire someone to do that. You build it by yourself? Nah. But isn't because I'm my fear is that I end up breaking something, if I try to do it on my own. But I also agree that it shouldn't be that hard actually to just put the components together, especially if you understand how programming works. And now that I've studied a lot more about this, that I understand, at least I think I understand. At least I understand it way better now than I did before about everything, how everything is integrated. Exactly. And you can also watch videos, right? Of people teaching you. I'm sure there are plenty of videos of people talking about this. The only thing that can be a problem is that sometimes these versions of things you can put them together because of the clock and stuff like that. But so that's a little annoying to figure out. But I think yeah, it's definitely possible to build it by yourself. Yeah. So you see, they're saying here. So this link that you sent me is from the UK version of Amazon, and then here they saying they ship to Brazil, but it's gonna be double the price for me, probably. So it's gonna be 80 instead of 40. With there's more the delivery price. But why 6? Why not just 1 or 2? Do you really need 6 to mine? Yeah, I use Amazon in whenever I buy some stuff. Oh, oh, yeah, makes sense. Because you're gonna use. But how much do you use for one computer? Probably 1 or 2, right? Yeah, makes sense. One GPU. I have one here actually, PCI 4, but it's the one that was causing problems on my computer, so I had to take it off. But it's still working, but I don't know. Maybe if I build another computer, then I'm gonna use that one. Is PCI 4. I think I actually can grab it here. Is this one? I don't know if you can see it. I will do that, but first I want to see what I can share and what I can't. It's 980 Pro. Samsung SSD. Yeah, PCI 4. And they didn't. I tried to replace it, but they didn't do it because I didn't buy it from the official store. I bought it from the 980 Pro. I think I can search here. Samsung PCI 4. I bought it for poker, but I wasn't using this one. Oh, SSD. So the thing you're saying is different. Oh, this is a capacitor and the other one is RAM. M2 on Amazon or I'm sure I'm 20 sure. Yeah, okay. I only look Discord once a day because I don't wanna keep. But I will look tomorrow when I wake up. I don't wanna be distracted by Discord. Yeah, it's pretty much similar to the one that I have. If it is these ones here, I'm sure. It's a lot cheaper though. Oh, I was gonna open the task manager. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick, right back. Then I'll open the task manager stuff. If you're still here. All right. If you're not here, then yeah, not here I can talk. But if you're here, then see you tomorrow then, or we talk on Discord then. But thanks for sharing the stuff that you did share with me. I really appreciate that. I'm still here. I'm probably gonna do this eventually. Not sure how soon, but once I get the money to do it. Oh, it's still here. Uh, I think I can show you this stuff. There's probably nothing here. GPU AMD Radeon R7 240 series. Of course I am. I wanna make money. Task manager is your component. The only problem for me is that, uh, like, it's not cheap, you know. I don't have money to do this. I'll have to think about a way to get enough money to do this. But 800 euros is actually 6 times more expensive for me because of the currency. So I have to make 6 times more than 800 in my currency to be able to have enough money. So it's, and then I have to think about a way to get this money, you know. And this is because it's not 100% certain. So this was what holding me back in the past from doing this, because I figured that it would be better long term to focus on other stuff that are not really that risky, and programming, which is more, has to do more with all the stuff that I want to do, rather than just focus on trying to get this. And even though it is a nice amount of money, but it's not crazy or anything like that. Like, not gonna make you a millionaire just through mining. But then you can use that money to make other stuff. So obviously, it is very good to do it. Yeah, man. I think I'm gonna go now. I have other stuff to do off stream. What the fuck is that? Meme? Yeah, we'll talk later on Discord or something like that. I'll definitely search more about this. Good GPU. Yeah, okay. So yeah, and thanks for sharing everything, of course. So see you later, man.